So I just finished the gym. I had a chest day with one of my closest friends. He was my gym partner since the start of this journey. And yeah, why not? Chest with another person that's as dedicated, as hardworking is always gonna benefit, not kind of tax away from, you know? I'm still sick. You can kind of hear it in my voice, so that's why I'm not gonna go crazy. But I'm sure you saw the title of this video and you're probably wondering like, what is this guy about to say? Right? And before we get into it, if you are actually pressed about a word, then scroll off this video, because it says a lot about, you know, the type of person that you are. I don't use that word. I know it's a derogatory word, I guess, but I don't use that word to insult anybody, unless it's people that I actually know, like my friends. I don't get the idea of actually being offended by a word that much. I know for a fact that you haven't truly gone through much adversity, really, if you are so offended by a word that it cripples you and you're just like overly fixated and angry about this word. Like, come on now, bro. There's so many more problems in the world, and there's no way that this word is riling you up. Anyway, that's not the point, because I think being realistic is actually stupid. As a person, as a man that has 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands and legs, I have the capability to really achieve whatever I wanted, and I've had proof of concept through this, right? There's so many things in my life that were unexplainable, in which it happened, and it honestly, you wouldn't think it's realistic. Okay, for an example, is I was able to get into literally the best shape of my life at a young age, when I haven't even legally became an adult yet, right? A young adult, 18. At 16 years old, I had strength that surpassed most adults. And yeah, you can say it's because I'm young. Yeah, you can say it's because I'm at my peak healing, my peak I don't know, energy and all that, but that's just cope. Because there are plenty of middle-aged men that I know that are 10 times stronger than me as a high schooler, and even me right now, where I'm continuously trying to get better, right? I'm not saying that I was like such an exceptional being, but I know like 70% of guys, not even, 99% of guys can't even bench 225 pounds on a bench press, right? They can't even pick that up. And to think about that, that is pretty unrealistic. If you told me that 99% of people would never bench 225 pounds, I would have been like, wow, that's definitely not realistic for me to do. Yet I was able to do it at 17 years old, right? This isn't about me though. And I'm not anyone special, right? I took years to actually practice and master the craft of bodybuilding, just so that I can get to a place where I was content with my body. But being realistic would have never allowed me to reach that level, or even have the aspirations that I have right now. Think about your dreams for a second. Think about if there was no limitations on you right now, physically, mentally, like what you're capable of, what you've been doing so far, for how much money you want to make, what physique do you want to get, what would you want to be able to do, you know, what capabilities would you want? Would you want to be able to run a mile in under 5 minutes? Would you want to be able to bench press 500 pounds? Like, these are pretty crazy goals, right? Think of no limitations. And picture if you'd be able to do it, right? Picture if people have done that before in the past. And then ask yourself, why isn't that possible for you? How can that not be possible for you? if somebody's out there have done it, ignore the genetics aspect, ignore the experience, because experience, bro, you can make that up. You can get that experience if you actually tried. But why isn't that goal achievable for you? Think about that. The only person that's stopping you is yourself at the end of the day. This sounds so motivational, right? But it's so true. Nobody is stopping you. Not your parents, not what people think of you, not your current circumstances, not how much money's in your bank account. So many success stories started off with people that used to be homeless and got rich, that used to be skinny and got jacked, that used to be insecure, antisocial, but then has now a very fruitful relationship that is long-term, right? And so what does being realistic really help you with? It doesn't help you at all. Being realistic only keeps you at where you are right now. It doesn't ever get you anywhere farther in life. Think about it. We were all kind of lied to and made to think that the dreams that we had when we were younger that seemed so out of reach were just dreams, right? But they can go from dreams to being goals if you truly took it serious, right? Don't be realistic. Being realistic is such a waste of time. It is absolutely stupid, right? It is retarded. And I want to use that word just to kind of filter out those soft ass people who get offended by a fucking word. And I'm just like, oh, you can't be saying that. That's disrespectful. I don't care, bro. I'm truly not hurting anybody. I'm screaming in the car after the gym. I'm screaming in the gym parking lot right now to nobody. I don't use it against anybody. I don't openly disrespect people. I don't even curse that much, but to kind of express my passion towards this topic, it's like being realistic is retarded. I'm only saying this because I used to try to be realistic, and a lot of people try to feed me the idea of being realistic my entire life. I grew up with Asian parents, Vietnamese. Bro, they're the most safe people ever. They wouldn't want you to take risks. They would want you to stay being realistic because, I mean, I don't blame them. They come from a third world country and they had to sacrifice so much to get to where we are right now in America, where it's extremely fruitful and blessed with opportunities. No matter your circumstances right now, you being in America is a fucking good opportunity, because if you were to actually live in a third world country for like a month, you will see exactly how lucky you are to be here, right? So much people are trying to escape to here for a reason, and that reason is because it's absolutely terrible in third world countries in some areas, unless you're going to the tourist spots and unless you are like in the good areas, right? You know where to go. I lived in my home country for like an entire month, and I was able to see like how the people actually live. I lived it myself, and every single day I grew more and more grateful to just be here. And I looked at my parents differently. I used to be very like, oh, I used to be very not ungrateful, right? I was more grateful than most, but like it really was set in stone once I came back and saw how they used to live almost their entire life, right? And only in the middle of their lives were they actually able to escape and come here. And my respect grew and my gratitude grew. And it's kind of like, whenever I see people waste their opportunity by being here and trying to be realistic and trying to be safe all the time, it's like, bro, your parents sacrificed so much for you to be here. You have a stable income, a working job where you're able to at least have food. A lot of people don't even have food, and you're scared to take risks. You're scared to actually put extra hours of work and effort onto your goals, especially if you're around the age 25 to 35, 40, right? I know I'm young, but even me, I feel like I'm behind. But if you're around that middle area, you still have the capacity to take risks, especially if you don't like the life you are at right now. The only reason why you're here is because you've been realistic your whole life. You were fed the idea and you were psyoped into thinking that you should be realistic. You shouldn't try to do the risky alternative and all that, right? My parents fed me that lie my whole entire life because they grew in circumstances where they weren't able to have that as an option even. And most can say, I don't have that option either. I have a lot to live up to. I have to go to college. I have to do this and that. I'm not going to college though. I know that the path for me doesn't have college. And most will say that's stupid. Most will say that I'm being ignorant. But I do not want realistic. I don't want a realistic life. I want unrealistic. And I want to be exceptional. If being realistic gets you an average life, I want to be more than that. So when I started changing, right, I started actually thinking for myself. And I wanted to pursue this self-improvement journey of trying to get bigger, you know, becoming a bodybuilder. Literally everybody in my family didn't even want to be no bodybuilder. They thought red meat gave you cancer. They thought red meats give you cancer. They thought lifting weights is going to get you paralyzed or something like that. They thought that it was so unrealistic for me to be eating red meat every day or eating an egg every day that it was like, oh, you're hurting yourself. You're going to have, like, bro, out of all love and respect, I don't want your physique and I don't want to live the way you do. So why do I have to listen to what you say? When the dude online that has my physique is telling me kind of to eat more, eat as much protein, hit the gym and train heavily, like, I'm going to listen to that because I actually want his life. And if there are problems that come with that, then I'm going to be able to handle it, right? I prefer those problems than the problems right now. I'd rather deal with the problems that having a exceptional physique gives me than to have a mediocre physique and have whatever problems that comes with. Maybe that has to do with regret because I was never able to actually go out and get it myself, right? My sickness. And so I was always fed this lie, even in family functions when I would just be around family. They would just have such different worldviews and thought, why are you working so hard at your young age? Why aren't you enjoying your life? Okay? Because I don't want to be average. I don't want to be realistic. And this is honestly just my choice. I don't know why that affects you so much, right? I'm sure you care about me. I'm sure that you want the best for me. But whatever you think is best for me is exactly what it is. It's just what you think. What I think is best for me is what my dreams and aspirations truly align with. And that means working as hard as I possibly can in the opportunities that I was given so that in the future, I'm able to afford to live a lot more comfortably for the rest of my life. I don't want to have fun now and relax now and then work later for 80% of my life. I want to work as hard as I possibly can with the opportunities that I have, unrealistically work hard so that later on I can have an exceptional life, right? And most people aren't going to get that. Okay? Do you think it's realistic for these 14 to 16-year-olds to be making 10K a month when they're genuinely out there and you've heard testimonials about that or you've heard this and that? You can sit here and be like, oh, that's impossible. They must have scammed. They must have got daddy's money or something. But guess what? What if it is possible? What if they have done that? Now what? Like, what are you going to do about it? they were able to, at a very, very young age, make money that no other person their age would usually make, and get exceptional results. Do you think they were trying to be realistic here? Do you think that at 16 years old, they were just like, oh, let me just make a whole bunch of money? You know, a lot of people my age were doing that. No. They went against the grain and they started doing things despite what anybody else ever thought, whatever was told online. They truly just followed what they had in mind because they sat down and they thought about what they actually wanted without any outside influences, changing their judgment. If you're struggling with figuring out what you truly want with your life, go back to times where you were the happiest and see how you can sustainably do that, right? Or get the hell off of social media. Get off of YouTube, bro. Get off of Instagram and sit down and think, what do I actually want? Sit there for as long as it takes, hours. Have a notebook. Start writing things down on what makes you like genuinely fulfilled. What actually interests you, and pursue it with relentless intention. And don't give a fuck about if it's realistic or not, because being realistic gets you nowhere but at the bottom. Do you think it's realistic for 15-year-olds to be pressing 300 pounds? Maybe they're just at the brink of puberty and they're doing that much as a powerlifter competing. No, but I guarantee that there's somebody out there that has done that and is currently doing that, right? There's countless case studies of this. And you're still sitting here trying to be realistic, trying to play it safe, just because you're scared of the outcome. Brother, the worst case scenario is your current reality right now. It's not like you can't find another job. It's not like you're gonna become crippled if you go to the gym. What are you gonna do if you lift weights? You're gonna explode? Like, that's not gonna happen. You're afraid of the work that it actually takes. You're afraid that it's actually possible. That's what you're afraid of. You're afraid that your unrealistic goal is actually possible. Because if it's possible, you know that there's so much work behind it and you are completely not in the position to be pursuing it right now. But let me tell you this, brother. Every single day that you waste being realistic and avoiding it, you're always going to regret it and you're going to get farther and farther. The only hard part is starting that thing, and you'll realize that that was the biggest thing holding you back. It's just starting. You can focus on perfecting it and optimizing it later. Starting is already the biggest step forward. You've done half the work. The other half now is just sticking to it. And that's where most people fail. And so I always relate this to fitness because it was one of the most impactful moments in my life. It was when the real colors of my family, the people around me, truly was shown. I remember first trying to get into the gym because I truly hated the person I saw in the mirror. Like, I was very lustful. I had terrible habits. I wasted my free time watching Netflix, playing video games, just clowning around. And I never took my life seriously. But once I saw a little bit of interest to hitting the gym and like changing my body, because I knew to change up here, I had to change right here. A lot of my friends that were way before looked at me differently. They thought I was funny for that. They didn't believe in me at first. They thought, oh, really? You're gonna start doing 100 push-ups every single day no matter what? Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool, bro. They weren't truly supporting. Nobody's gonna support you when it's needed. They're only going to give you your flowers when you've accomplished it, when you don't need it. So by the time I was actually isolated getting the results in the gym, and they saw that I was actually changing, the way that I've carried myself now is different. The way that I looked was different. My health was a lot better in general. And I felt good, finally, like just living. That was when they saw a true change. But at that point, they weren't even in my life anymore. Simultaneously, my family was telling me all of this about dieting, that I was so excessive, I was so obsessive over this. Why are you training so hard in the gym? You're gonna hurt yourself. It's not healthy to do that. You need to rest. You need to relax, right? There's no time for me to relax. I relax when I'm sleeping or on my rest days. But when I'm training, I'm giving it as much as I possibly can, because I know that I am chasing that guy that I want to be, and I am running away from that guy that I was. And I don't want to be that, right? It's unrealistic for even a young person to be trying to get strong in the gym, right? When you think of a high schooler, you probably smoke weed, you probably play video games, you probably waste your time, maybe you have a part-time job, maybe you're in your studies, but you never think, oh, this guy has some exceptional strength, stronger than an entire adult, a middle-aged whole-ass adult. But the thing is, most adults nowadays are low testosterone. They can't even run anymore. They lost the ability to run, which is crazy. So the bar is so low now. If you're young, you're already ahead. You have a roof over your head and you have food on the table. There's nothing that you can't accomplish. You can get a job. You can work 3 jobs and you can go for that goal that you truly want. But if you're that middle-aged guy, don't try to be realistic. I know you don't like your life right now, and there's so much that you could do. Maybe you do like your circumstances. Maybe it's comfortable enough, but you know that there is a level that you haven't tapped into yet. And only by securing your health, getting into the best shape of your life, looking the best you ever looked, feeling actually good every day with this extra energy that's coming from, I don't know, just living, right? You know that your relationships are going to benefit from that. The way that you make money is going to benefit from that. And all these other aspects are just going to elevate. And that's only if you start having unrealistic expectations, because you can be great and you can't become exceptional if you don't want to be an exception to the rule, and you don't want to go against the grain and do what's unrealistic. If you want to be realistic, you want to stay normal and comfortable, that's totally fine. But don't think for a second that you can think realistically and think of the safest way and actually get insane results. You can't do that, brother. Trust me, I've had those thoughts before. I was never the risk taker. I never really tried in anything. I never gave 100% to anything at all until I found fitness. And that was when all of the limitations in my mind were completely destroyed. And I thought, if I was able to exceed my expectations here, where else can I do that? And it still follows these 3 pillars of my fitness, my finances, and my relationships. All 3. It's not even normal now for someone being under the age of 25 to be married and or have kids without thinking that they're like a complete degenerate and they threw away their life, right? Maybe it was a mistake and they got somebody pregnant at a young age, right? But maybe you just genuinely know that you want to start a family and you were able to build a genuine good relationship at a very young age because you took it serious. Is that realistic? I don't think so. When I talk to other people about my relationship standards that I am actually dating to marry, and I want to give my actual seriousness and start a family as soon as I possibly can, because what else do you want to do in life, right? Do you want to continue to party? Do you want to continue to drink on the weekends? Do you really want to just continue to sleep around? All of that is so mundane at this point. And I understood this even before I was an actual adult, right? Before the age of 18. I want to have kids as fast as I possibly can so that I can still be in a position to teach them the best, still have my cognitive function, and help them grow as I'm still young and sharp, right? If you're under the age of 60, you are young, you are sharp. Right? You shouldn't be out of shape. You shouldn't be out of shape. You shouldn't take naps unless like you're actually losing sleep. But like, what are you doing that for? Like, what are you there for? You truly should be chasing more than right now. What's the worst that can actually happen? What, you're gonna die for chasing your dreams? That's bullshit, right? If you want to make more money, if you want to get a better physique, if you want to build that actual good relationship, you aren't going to die. If you ask yourself, am I gonna die from this? And if the answer is no, which 99% of the time it is, what's gonna hurt from you doing it then? Exactly. With the right intention, with the right plan, and it doesn't even have to be right. It can be 50% right and you'll still be okay. You will be able to actually make good steps in the right direction and make faster progress than anybody. But no, you'd rather be realistic. You'd rather be like, let me listen to my parents, my friends, my significant other, right? Let me play it safe. Let me wait until I'm 30 before I actually think about having kids. Let me get in shape after I'm retired. Like things die down. I'll actually have time for the gym. Holy fuck. Let me start that business when I have enough money to invest. You're never going to have that. There's never going to be a perfect circumstance where it makes you better, because we all know that when you start off, there will be times where you fail anyway. Nobody has had a perfect run in their life. The people who are the most successful have failed way more times than people even tried. So how do you expect to get it perfect the first time? You won't. So why are you trying to be realistic with anything? Don't get me wrong, you might be able to have an okay life being realistic for the entire time. Like, it's okay, it's manageable, you're comfortable, you have this, that. But you haven't tapped into where you know your potential may be. But I know you're here because you know that you're looking for more. If you've made it this far and you're still here, there's a goal out there that you have been losing sleep over, thinking about, but you aren't able to get there because you're thinking too realistically. You're thinking, what if it goes wrong? What if I injure myself in the gym? What if eating like this, there's something wrong with my gut? What if my parents are right? What if I continue to eat meat? Brother, you eat out so many times out of the week with ingredients and things from a chef you've never even met before, and you have more trust into that than just eating red meat and eggs every single day? That's actually insane. How is it unrealistic for you to get in shape in whatever age range you're at when you haven't even tried yet? When you haven't even put 100%? When you haven't even tried to track macros, find where your maintenance is, try to eat in a deficit or a surplus of that, build muscle or lose fat? Eat real food that won't get you feeling like shit and looking like shit. You've never tried that. How is that unrealistic then? You're right. It's more realistic to be doing what you're doing right now, because it is pretty realistic to be eating Panda Express whenever you are busy, or eat out on the weekends and also drink and also look the way you do. That's extremely realistic. Your frequency is what you frequently see. So whatever you think is true about your life will be true. The human mind is so powerful that if we think that we're incapable of doing something, then we actually won't. So understanding that, why aren't you shooting far? Why aren't you shooting for that goal that you know everybody thinks is unrealistic, but the fact that somebody has achieved it out there, why doesn't that just fire you up to wanting to continue to pursue it, at least with your free time? I know exactly why that is, because I used to live that life too. It's because I indulged in the comforts. I had terrible habits that outweighed my ambition to chase that unrealistic goal because I was sedentary with where I was at. I was content, right? No, I was complacent with this. Video games is such a huge escape because you get that quick dopamine of being fulfilled in the game. You're accomplishing things, you are leveling up, or you are winning battles so that you can ignore real life. And it's instant and it requires no pain other than that you have to grind in the game, right? But you wouldn't want to grind in real life because you actually have emotions and feelings, right? And it would actually hurt if you do pursue that. But what you don't realize is the game doesn't fucking matter, bro. Video games don't matter. If you're above the age of 25 and you're playing video games and you're not the man you want to be, what are you genuinely doing, bro? You have limited energy in the day and you're wasting that on a video game because after that, what drive would you have to do other than just to scroll on your phone and go to sleep? All your passion and energy was on that game to win. So you're winning in the games, but you're not winning in real life. So what are you actually doing? Like, that's just crazy to me. You don't even have what it takes to chase your unrealistic goals because you're cutting your energy short. You don't even have it in you because it actually takes work, like real life work, to self-improve, right? And it actually hurts your character, physical character. It doesn't hurt the character in the video game if you get hurt, if you get shot, if you take damage. And you don't care if it does because if you die, you respawn, right? Think about it. I've applied that same logic to my character in real life because I know that if I'm heartbroken, if my business fails, if I get fired by my job, if friends cut me off or they do me wrong, it's not gonna damage me. It may damage me, but I'm always going to respawn. I'm always going to still have my hands, my legs, and my mind. It's never going to put me into the position where I would literally be crippled from trying anything else. That's impossible because I have myself, I have systems that allow me to continue to pursue no matter the circumstances. And that's only because I have built it. And I have escaped that realistic mindset. It's so realistic for somebody to get depressed after being heartbroken, going through like a 5-year relationship, 10-year relationship, and just being crippled by their depression, staying inside all the time, eating fucking ice cream all day, and just not enjoying their life. That's so realistic to do. So realistic. But who the hell would want that? It is so unrealistic for a guy to get heartbroken that same day after 5 years of a committed relationship and then just go to the gym and then try to forget about it in a week, right? Except in my head, if I truly program myself to do that, I feel like that would happen. Genuinely. And I have proof of concept because many things have happened in my life where I should have been depressed, I should have been sad, or it would have been like a good enough reason for me to just be sedentary and not do shit. But I was able to exceed that because I wasn't operating on a realistic mindset. And I wouldn't want to. You're capping your potential off by trying to be realistic and safe with every single thing that you do, and you're just living on autopilot right now. There literally wouldn't be any dire downsides if you were to make an impulse, unrealistic decision to pursue whatever it may be. You will only end up the way you are right now, and that is it. It's so unrealistic for a 19-year-old to be working 12 to 15 hours every single day, losing sleep, averaging around 4 to 6 hours every single day for like 6 months or even an entire year. But I was doing that, right? I have lived through that. But it's only the systems that I've built and the mind that I have that I was able to survive through that. And I didn't think for a second, is it realistic for me to be losing sleep and still hitting the gym? Is it still realistic for me to be working this much at a young age when I could be in college, meeting new people, having fun, going to parties and relaxing and enjoying my time? That is absolute bullshit, because I have a goal where I want to work now and be able to enjoy all of that later. None of that enjoyment is something that I will just pass up. Like, it doesn't just go away. There will always be parties. There will always be times of celebration. Like, we have a birthday every single year, and I know, like, maybe you have loved ones that want to celebrate that with you. If you celebrate your birthday anyway as a man, if you care about celebrating your birthday as a man, like, you genuinely care, what is wrong with you, bro? It's just another year. But my point stands that there's so many other days of celebration where you truly, like, you're not going to miss out on anything. People are saying, oh, you're going to miss out on that college life. I'm not missing out on anything. What? Getting drunk? Being realistic only keeps you average. And why would you waste your one opportunity of life being average? That makes no sense. In 100 years, you will be forgotten and you will not exist anymore. So why would you waste it trying to be realistic and safe? I will never understand that. Right? And I'm only telling you this because I truly, truly care about you. And the people who don't give a fuck about just some simple word, the R word that I put in the title, and they actually listen to my message, they will be able to take it, find the deeper meaning, and actually take action to change their life. Right? Go hit the gym. Go start a business. Go do what you know that you should be doing, that you are holding off just because it's not realistic. If you want to quit your job and go for another position somewhere else, go do that. If you think that you can't do something right now, even though you've seen someone at the age and at the current position you are achieve it, go do it, because you're no different. And I guarantee you, anybody who's successful and truly, truly successful, they don't have any luck or any advantages other than the fact that they actually started. So I'm telling you, just go do it. So I'm telling you, the ones that can actually think deeper and truly understand what I'm saying, they will obviously know that where they're at right now isn't where they want to be for the rest of their life. There's so many things. You have just been limited by that realistic mindset that's keeping you complacent. So I'm looking at you right now. Do something today to make it so that it's a commitment to yourself, to doing that hard thing. Like, even before, buying that gym membership was like the most riskiest thing for me, because money, I lived in this scarcity mindset, and having a risk like that was like, holy shit, I'm spending like $50 a month. I don't want to waste this, so I'm going to get as much out of it as possible. I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to show up every single day and take advantage of this membership. And that was what allowed me to get in the best shape of my life at such a young age. And everybody's going to look at that and be like, that's so unrealistic. Everybody's going to look at me and think, wow. And that's when I had people thinking that I was 22, 20 at 16 or 17 years old. Right? Because I went out and got what I actually wanted. So if you make that commitment today, all it takes is literally one decision today to make that commitment, and slowly try to perfect it along the way is how you'll actually change your life. I promise you. Making that commitment first thing is going to force you to change for the better. If you stayed for this long, I know that that's you. And I know you can do something. And don't try to cut yourself off, cut your potential off. Don't try to fall short of what you truly are able to achieve. Because if somebody's been out there doing it, like, it can also be you as well. And you can be that for others. You can inspire others once you've made it yourself. You just have to start and have enough conviction to continue to do it when there's no reason to continue to stick to it, right? You need to pursue it with such a level of conviction that when there's no results, you'll still be able to go for it. I hope you watching this actually takes action. I hope you watching this takes action and just doesn't watch this video for motivation. I want you all to change your lives, become that 1% being that you've been chasing. Become that person you picture in your mind that you think is so unrealistic that it is impossible for yourself, yet it is, right? You can have a phenomenal physique. You can look good still at 40 years old. You can look younger at 47 years old than you did at 35. That's through the gym. That's through genuinely taking care of yourself and looking for that unrealistic and chasing that unrealistic standard that you're trying to set. Think about what I said and try to carry it into the next things that you do. Analyze what you do on a daily basis, and I know that there's things that you should be doing. So I hope you guys do that. I hope you guys actually change your lives today. And go back to this video and be like, Eric actually made me think differently, and I was able to take action. And my life 3 months from now is so much different than when I watched this video. 6 months from now, 12 months from now, it doesn't matter how long it takes, it will be different, and you'll go back to this video thanking me. So you're welcome in advance. I love all of you guys. My YouTube is actually growing. And you know what? If you're somebody who's skinny, if you're somebody who's overweight, right, and you truly want to change that, and you don't think it's even possible or realistic for you to do it right now, I'll give you the systems. I'll work with you one-on-one. Just book a call. I'll have a link in the description. But it's only for the ones who know that it's possible for them. And by the end of this video, you should think it's possible for you. So book a call if you're actually serious, and I'll qualify you to work with me. I've already had a 70-year-old lose 20 pounds, even though he was losing only a pound per month. But he lost 5 pounds in the first month that we worked with each other. Isn't that absolutely insane? We're on track to be losing a pound a week when he was losing a pound a month and saw no results for 15 years. Do you think a 70-year-old would still be able to hit the gym and have so much energy? That's unrealistic. But by learning the system that I had, and I genuinely actually cared about his health and put all the factors into account with where his age is at and what diet works best, hormones and everything, we were able to see exceptional results. But it only started with him thinking that it was possible and putting his trust into me. So that's it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.